Hello and welcome to the Providence College Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Judge. This week we want to introduce you to a very important initiative coming out of archives and special collections in Phillips Memorial Library. The name of the project is Dear Future Friars, and the goal is to collect stories of alumni through video and oral history interviews to make them available and save them as part of our campus history. The pilot round is focused on capturing the experiences of Black alumni and other alumni of color. And joining us today to talk about the origins and importance of this project are Joe Small, class of 1974, and Mal Davis, class of 1981. Joe, why is the Dear Future Friars project important to you?
I guess it was just a little short of a year ago that I found myself in an interesting kind of conversation with college president, Father Shanling, is that correct? About the importance of preserving oral histories and the importance of capturing authentic voices from many members of my class, as we are just shy of our 50th anniversary of Providence College becoming Golden Friars. And the fact is that through attrition, our numbers are dwindling. And there's some incredible individuals who came through this fine institution who had some amazing experiences that only they could tell. And if there was some way that we could record some of that before they passed on, before they transitioned, then all the better. And that was my thinking at the time. How about you, Mel?
I concur with that. One of the things I would just add on is that, this is my alma mater. It's where I got my pigskin from. So I don't deal with other colleges, but I deal with trying to make Providence College what it is supposed to be. It's almost the same as this American experience. And so in that case, we need to capture full histories, that stories need to be told. Stories good, not so good, and frankly bad. All the stories need to be told so that you can get a full spectrum of what's going on. And I don't. Joe hits it right on the head. We've both been at a lot of homegoings over the last few years. A number of guys from his era who didn't even make it to age 60. And unfortunately, this is coming along a bit later, where we can't capture Dr. Robert Hamlin or Father Robert Morris, or it would even really be, because she has diminished a lot, to capture Dr. Walesi Kamajan. So somewhere we have to have a starting point. Even Dr. Ken Walker, who didn't pass that long ago. Those are rich pieces that we won't be able to have with this, but if we start now, then we will have something that's very rich, because and not to butter him up, but Joe's group was quite a group when I look at what they were able to accomplish during that point in time.
Mal, why is it important for us to focus on the stories of our Black alumni with this initial project?
I don't have a good way of doing this. When one looks at Providence College, one sees the basketball team, and you think that the student population reflects the basketball team, and it doesn't when you start looking at numbers, over the years. And so we need, again, this is important, that we just need to do this so that the general everyday student, because in my mind, that's what this project is really about. It's about the general everyday student, and they'll find out, I believe, through these stories, even though numbers have increased significantly, that some of the same issues that were going on in the 70s and the early 80s, they've not disappeared. So in having all of this, they will, I think, I do have a good way of saying it, that they'll feel some camaraderie. They won't feel like they're out on an island, because sometimes you feel like they're out on an island. I don't know if we'll to get to something, but it was, for me, it was just interesting. Just when I moved into Fennell Hall, it was culture shock, because I was the only one on the floor that looked like me.
I would add that it was 52 years ago that I, as a entering freshman, or maybe even longer, because obviously I was still in high school, so maybe it was my senior year, getting the tour of Providence College. And I'm in a tour group where I'm the only person of color. And I'm walking the grounds, and we're, obviously getting the big sales pitch on how fine this institution was. And I'm looking for anybody that looked like me. And I found one brother coming out of the library as we were entering in. And I remember like it was yesterday that I hung back to the back of the line so I could get a chance to get a quick one-on-one with him, make eye contact, and then quickly ask, so what's this place like? And his answer was short, curt, and to the point. He looked left, he looked right, and then he looked me right in the eye and he said, "Don't come here." And then off he went, and I was startled by his answer. Now, fast forward, I show up a year later and he sees me on campus and he's like, "Damn fool, didn't I tell you not to come here?" And of course, we laughed our heads off, became the best of friends. Mal, I'm talking about TJ, and brother Ted Jones. And my point is this: not everyone gets an opportunity to make contact with another student that might look like them, that perhaps may culturally come from similar background. And with the wonders of modern technology like we have today, which were not available to me 52, 53 years ago, to be able to sit in the comfort and convenience of their home, get on the internet, and look and listen to 2 minutes, 3 minutes of somebody's personal experience, good, bad, or indifferent. It's invaluable. And that's where I think, hopefully, we're able to accomplish with this collection of authentic stories going forward. Let the student make their own decision, but at least it's more than one person that says, "Don't come here."
What just one thing, I know you have to move on, Michelle. One of the other reasons why I would do it is that and I have said this with different African American alumni, is that we need to be in all spaces on this campus. So we have those that are represented inside, of administration. And what I mean is, I can't even come up with the right, but they're on the board of directors or whatever we call it. That has never been my charge from 1983 on, when I showed back up in the state. I have worked with student populations there. They've always known that, as I always called myself, Big Brother alumni, that I'm in the area. And if I'm in town, then I am available for you, because I can deal with the administration in a way that you can't as a student. And they've taken advantage of that over the years in different things. And so I just find this a next phase of that, and that we can get more voices, not just mine and not just Joe's.
Joe, what do you think current and future students will get from having access to these stories?
Well, I'd like to add, you talked about current and future. I'm also going to add in there past students, alumni. It's my hope that for some of our alumni members, being able to tell their story, perhaps for the first time, to really hear their experience in their own words, in some cases can be healing.
Cathartic.
very much so, because we've had some members of our community of Providence College Friars of color go through some traumatic experiences and today still carry those scars. And if they can be persuaded to lend their voices in such a way that they're able to arrive at some resolution, even if it's just, damn it, I finally got my story out, got the story straight, then all the better.
I support it all the way. I have watched the angst of folk, and I've even said to some of my alumni of color that if I can love my institution, which I do, and go through what I went through, which no one else went through, I can promise you that much. My senior year was pure hell. There's just no other way to describe it. And still be committed. And the commitment is because of today's student, especially. I like what Joe said, though, and that people need healing, from the past, because you can't keep carrying that stuff. I wouldn't trade my Providence degree for anything else. It's one of the reasons why, and I'll probably reiterate this too many times and while we're talking, is that I've had conversations with the administration and they start telling me about Villanova or Catholic U or BC, and I didn't go to school there. I was at the corner of River and Eaton Streets, or now 1 Cunningham Square. That's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the other schools. That let their alumni talk about that school. We want to talk about what we're doing, and what I consider this overused phrase of the beloved community. Well, how do we put teeth to that and make it real?
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us and talking about this wonderful project that will be such an asset to our community. If you'd like to get more information on this project, please call 401-865-2578 or email pcarchives@providence.edu. We will also post a link in the show notes where you can learn more and even participate in the oral history project if you are so inclined. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Providence College Podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast in all the usual places, including your smart speaker. Please leave a rating or review and email podcast@providence.edu with suggestions of future guests. Thanks for listening, and go Friars!